So I'm Mark Leake. I'm one of the champions for technologies for the future, along with Dan Watts. It's important to note, as Rachel suggested, I started in January this year. Dan was in post previously, and this has really helped. So we had, if you like, a bit of a rolling start on some of the initiatives that Dan had started, and that's really helpful. And Dan and I are both professors in the physics department. I'm also associated with the biology department. So in my coming on board, that's added a little bit of that extra dimension into the life science expertise, perhaps, and you'll see that maybe coming through in some of the slides I'll talk to. So we're running with 4 priorities in this theme. Firstly, we want to build up interdisciplinary research consortia, and so our thinking here is that we essentially facilitate co-location of researchers across multiple departments, across faculties, with the view of actually building up some level of critical expertise that is responsive towards current or near future demands in terms of funded research. So, can we actually enable these teams to actually put together competitive research proposals that are already being advertised, or that are likely to be advertised in the near future. In particular, we wanted to make inroads into an imaging network. This sort of builds on a lot of the fantastic work that was established from the likes of Thomas Krauss early on with the York Maastricht partnership. And so imaging as a theme was identified as something that York has a level of expertise in. We're trying to take that to a next level, and so really looking quite comprehensively, extensively at the whole concept of imaging. So going, beyond the initial borders of, if you like, biomedical themed imaging, and really looking at the people who not only develop the hardware and the software of imaging, but most importantly, this huge suite of users in York who apply the tools of this imaging technology, but don't think of themselves as imaging specialists. And it's the trick is really to put those communities together. So you have the problem solvers and the people with the problems. And we had a meeting last week, an inaugural meeting of the York Imaging Network. It was so good. It was really such positive level of engagement. We would love to see this transmogrify into a potential center and have a sort of role that not only facilitates good practice across York, but is an outward facing body. So it's something that can be a real sort of center of excellence in York. We're also very keen to have levels of public engagement across multiple levels. So in particular to engage schools through outreach programs, and also the lay public, and we'll talk a little bit about ideas that will bring us closer towards engaging in things like the York Festival Ideas. And we're very eager to support the development of early career researchers. And so you see we engaging in existing programs to do with grant boot camps, but also facilitating engagement at the level of sponsoring strategic summer internships, and I'll talk a little about that. So what have we actually been up to? Well, as you know, all of the champions will be aware, and previous champions, there's a lot of activity that goes on behind the scenes, a lot of front loading of discussions involving the champions across the spectrum, but also RDMs and key academic stakeholders. And so sometimes I think that leads to a level of frustration in people who aren't directly involved in champions initiatives, because they see a lack of immediate progress, because there has to be that level of front loading to actually get activities off the ground. But we have been able to get a few activities off the ground. It's been helped with Dan's initial activities in the area of proton beam therapy activities. So we held a workshop, a very well received workshop that involves industrial expertise with Christie's and a whole range of different biomedical scientists and biologists in York, and lots of collaborations will go forward from that. We've been developing ideas with the help of Craig Robertson, Rachel Cowgill in the area of science, music and sound technology, and this has really morphed to include aspects of linguistics as well, and also unexpected aspects of artificial intelligence, which we can talk about a little bit more. We already mentioned the York Imaging Network. It's such a fantastic level of engagement, and working on workshops relating to methods of using polarization signatures in science. Obviously, it's heavily dominated by science initiatives, as you can see there, and maybe that's something that we should discuss after I talk. We've supported already a large number of research consortia bids. So the first one was so-called Welcome Leake First 1,000 Days program. Our added value, Dan and myself, into that was that we added this level of physical science technology expertise that perhaps arguably was lacking initially, and what has resulted is really a very competitive bid that involved multiple departments led by psychology, but involving electronics, engineering significantly, and computer science. Fantastic competitive bid. There's also been EPSRC Transformative Healthcare Technologies bid. Dan Watts himself has led that, and again involving multiple researchers in York. We've supported the Leave Trust Future Homes Centre bid, led by Nikki Castelon, and we've provided strong level of coordination for the UKRI Physics of Life Strategic Priorities Fund submission. This is a £30 million pot administered by EPSRC, and 11 outline bids have now gone in from York. It's a hugely competitive fund, but to have 11 bids strategically coordinated from York, that puts us in a very positive position. And we already got some of these strategically sponsored undergraduate internships resourced. So for example, with BPSI-NET. What do we want to do next? Well, we really want to take this York Imaging Network to the next level. The meeting was so genuinely positive. And what we will do is basically have identify the hotspots within the imaging capability in York, and have a website and a seminar series, and see how far we can really take this as a centre concept, because it could end up supporting things like a doctoral training centre, new levels of teaching, certainly new research grant proposals. We're progressing towards a whole campaign involving science, music, sound and technology, and linguistics. This will take us into 2022. There's a celebration, as Rachel Cowgill will tell us about the celebration of William Herschel, but we're planning a whole campaign in terms of a range of different events to take us to that point and beyond. And we've been stimulating early career researchers, engaging in boot camps and grant writing workshops, and like I say, driving a whole range of these research consortia building. The Physics of Life Fund, that's the outline stage at the moment. I suspect all of those 11 bids will be positively triaged. So the next stage is really to support those bids at the full proposal stage, and similarly with developing a proton therapy network and brain research activities, but very much in terms of interdisciplinary research. And finally, we're engaging with Richard Friend and building on the accomplishments of TT Arvind in terms of developing initiatives to catalyse sustainability and responsible research innovation. And maybe, Rachel, I might have overrun a little bit, but I want to leave you with a couple of points about what I think has worked really well and what maybe could have been improved a little bit more, just to stimulate a little bit of discussion there. So in terms of what I think has gone really well, the imaging network, I'm absolutely blown away with the level of engagement, and I can see that some of the participants in this meeting were at that meeting. It's such a positive thing, and I can see that the added value in having that champions-led initiative in co-locating people even virtually and putting things forward. What could have gone better? Well, I think there's still a level of criticism from some as to what are you doing? What we haven't heard of these champions initiatives yet. We got the information late, and I think that breakdown in the communication pipeline is one which is easy to remedy, which is good, but it's something we have to be so mindful to do. And it's not just simple breakdowns in communication, not emails not going to the right people. It's thinking about do we want to exclude people at too early a stage? Do we not want social scientists to go to an imaging network meeting because we think that they might not be interested? And my own take is we do, because this is all about taking people out of their academic silos. And if we don't give them the opportunity to at least engage, that's where they're going to end up. But I think this is something that's easy to remedy and something that I'd love to see improved. Okay, I'll leave it with that.